Hey everybody, Al Iverson here. It's time for another one of your email authentication and deliverability questions answered. This week's question, thinking back to last week when I talked to Andrew Barrett from Spamhaus, and even before that when I talked to Allison Gootee from Braze, we talked about block lists and then we talked about Spamhaus and how Spamhaus is trying to protect the email ecosystem. And there's a lot of us who are trying to keep the email ecosystem a useful place free of spam and malware and bad stuff. So I wanted to touch more on that email ecosystem and how people can participate in the communities and collaborative opportunities to help improve and protect the email ecosystem. To that end, today I would like to introduce Jennifer Nespola Lance, who's VP of Industry Relations and Deliverability for Kickbox. Hey, Jen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Hey, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
So I thought it would be kind of cool to talk about some of the industry groups and collaborative opportunities that we both participate in. And I think MOG is perhaps a good place to start. And for everybody watching, I'll put links to all this stuff in the comments or description stuff below. Starting with MOG, MOG is the messaging, um, mobile and malware anti-abuse working group, and it is a long-standing abuse fighting, originally email focused, but now a little bit more broader working group targeting bad stuff, trying to keep the email ecosystem useful and workable as a communication medium. Both Jen and I have been involved in MOG to varying degrees over the years. So, Jen, I think this would be kind of a fun way to start. Is feel free to share your experience with MOG and what do you think the value of it is and what you get out of it.
Definitely. I love MOG. I love the fact that it's a working group. So it's all about coming up with solutions. And it is very much anti-abuse, but it's also education and communication so that best practices can be shared and um, the different ways to address systems to prevent abuse, even if it's not happening yet, or to prevent it so that it doesn't happen. And if it does happen, what do you do? It's a great way to connect. It's a great way to learn because there's a lot of content in there related to email, but like you said, mobile malware, and it's everywhere. And unfortunately, as a marketer, if you think about like, oh, why can't I do this or that? It's because the bad guys ruin it for everybody. And it's why like sender requirements are rolling out. It's why everything, you start to introduce a lot of the technical pieces because we've got to fight all this abuse that's coming in ultimately to keep email so it's usable.
Yeah, definitely. And it's as an example, we don't talk too publicly about stuff going on inside of Mog. They tend to want to have a safe environment where people from big companies can come and work together without worrying about something showing up in a blog or a video after the
Mhm.
fact. But one of the things that Mog does do is helps to push adoption of important technologies that help, for example, email, like pushing for broader adoption of DMARC. And I think it's safe to say that that's something that a lot of the people involved in MOG actually care about, and Jen and I both participate in.
Very much so. It's really important to help your email streams. It's important as a sender to make sure that you're getting all of the good reputation that you're putting out there, but then also for the receiver so that they can better identify those that shouldn't be mailing or that are mailing with poor practices.
So there's another group called the Email Sender and Provider Coalition, the ESPC. That one is more sort of sender focused. That is ultimately at its core a group of email service providers that meet a couple times a year, and then virtually they meet every month or two. And you can go to the in public meetups for free, even if you're not a member. So that's a place where it's really valuable if you are deliverability or marketing ops or strategic services for an email marketing automation platform or ESP. It can be really useful to come and learn about what's going on, what sort of collaborate and what the challenges are for different senders. So that's another one that I personally have had a lot of fun with. Um, uh,
I used to go to them quite a bit, and I'm hoping to revisit. And one thing I really loved about it is it also brings in that policy angle. So you could talk deliverability and strategy, but then also like how are the regulations around email and privacy impacting what you do as a sender or as a marketer? And especially when like California's data privacy law rolled out and now additional states are rolling out, it was a great way to kind of keep in touch with what is Utah or Colorado doing today? And when do they expect it to roll out, if at all? What are the different things to consider? And then how do you change your marketing program, if at all, or your policies on your website to meet that?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, at the last ESPC event, Mickey Chandler presented on a series of lawsuits in Arizona
Mm.
going after senders basically for implementing open tracking pixels. The suits ultimately ended up, I think, having no merit, but they were kind of scary and kind of got people worried that suddenly open tracking was going to be illegal, at least in Arizona. So that's the kind of place where you can go and get a good overview of something important and challenging and better understand how it might or might not affect your platform or your customers or your own marketing efforts. So that's a good angle for the marketing end or deliverability end of it, the sender end of it. If you want to look more into the technical bits, there's other places to go. Like there's a list called MailOp that's meant to be a mail administrator's mailing list to focus on operational issues. It's a good place to connect with other people that work both for sending platforms and mailbox providers. Not everybody's represented there, and it's not meant to be a place where you go, help, I'm blocked at Comcast. Somebody from Comcast, please reach out. So it's not a place to page people necessarily, but it's a good place to connect with people and share experiences or ask for help if you are struggling with a certain issue and you want to see have other people run into and perhaps tackled and address that same issue. And some like even though I said it's not a place to sort of page people, some of the ISP people do hang out there and can be pretty friendly sometimes to help you better understand how to be a better sender. So MailOps is a good place to do that. There's also the IETF, DKIM, and DMARC mailing lists. This is really getting into how the sausage is made. IETF is the Internet Engineering Task Force, and they're the group that is tasked with defining the specifications that drive the internet, including internet email, including email authentication. And there's ongoing work there right now on both of the two mailing lists, one for DKIM and one for a DMARC. There's a people are talking about the potential for an updated version of DKIM to come in the future. There is a new version of DMARC called DMARC Biz that folks are actively engaged in collaborating on right now. So if you want to learn more about how the sausage is made, and even if you're not super technical, don't be afraid. Come and watch and learn. You can sign up for those mailing lists. Again, I'll put links on the screen or in the info below. And then, Jen, I think you had mentioned too, getting involved in different conferences, the different ESP conferences and meetups. And tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think with you've got these great communities that you can be a part of, whether they're working groups or ESPC. There's Email Geeks, a Slack channel as well that gets you like directly involved to ask questions. And for some of the lists that you mentioned as well, it's nice to just see, is anybody else having the same problem I am? Is this bubbling up where I need to actually go to my mail administrator or something like that? But sometimes you can still get involved without actually being the one providing content or asking the questions. And that's really helpful with the conferences because it's such a great way to learn. It's a great way to network, and you can do it slowly and at your own pace too. So Inbox Expo is a really good one. It's a mix of like email marketing, but also deliverability. There's stuff like the Deliverability Summit, and I know that's European, but they do have specific developer tracks that can be really helpful from a technical standpoint. But then they also bring in like the marketing and sending side of it with strategy. There's online webinars and conferences you can attend. Cinch has a really great one. They're super creative. I love their email campaigns. They often do one every year. Usually it's the email camp, and they have a wide range of topics that they cover. And it's usually over a few days, but it's online, so it's really helpful that you can squeeze it in if you can't travel or are unable to travel. Um, so those are the few off the top of my head, but there's a ton out there, and I know that there's probably a list as well that you can review again, whether it's in person or online. But it's a great way to learn.
Yeah, definitely. And a great way to connect with people, especially if you're stuck working from home and can't get to all of the different the meetups in person. And then there's online newsletters and stuff too,
Mm-hmm.
right? Lauren
Yep.
Myers, Send It Right. Simon Harper's all everything email, all about email. Richello Killian just started an email newsletter. And lots more good stuff like that. That if you watch my blog or my LinkedIn, I tend to share links to that regularly because I don't want to keep everybody as a subscriber just for my newsletter. I really want to share that love around. Jen, this is great. Thank you so much for this quick overview. I know we could probably go on for another hour here, but I think this is a good place to wrap it up for now. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, that's it for today. If you've got a question you'd like me to answer in a follow-up video, drop me an email at al.iverson@valuemail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at valuemail.com to learn how to better trust your email and protect your domains against phishing and spoofing. Thanks, and catch you in the next one.